Hello.
Eva.
Sorry.
Hello. We have
Yes, hello.
Sweden is well
Stephanie.
represented. Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie.
Oh, there's
Hello.
Sammy.
There's Sammy. Oh, sorry, my sweetheart. Mwah.
And of
Mm.
course, Hannah.
Absolutely. Ilva,
Oh, I should change my glasses. I'll be right back.
Melissa, Anna. It's the greatest. I think we'll wait a couple more minutes.
Are we waiting for a couple people?
Yeah, I think so. Raquel, how many people are we waiting for right now?
You're aiming for 23 people.
And we have 10 right now.
Sorry, I'm sorry. We are aiming for 20 people.
Okay, and we're at 10 right now. Where are those bounders? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry you lost your voice. Uh-huh.
Oh, God.
I'll bet you were using it a lot yesterday. Uh-huh. Yeah, we won't ask you for what, but
Could be anything.
she's an angel. She's an angel.
Elizabeth. Good. Tina.
Tina Shaw. Hello. We're just greeting everybody. They show up. So we're going to wait just until 9:05. Oh, you caught a cough. Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you have let's see. Oh, you have a talk to do tomorrow. Oh yeah.
Katie.
Lemon and honey. Okay. Hello, Katie J, sweetie pie. Oh, look at all of you. Ilva, how are you doing? Pretty good?
I'm perfectly fine, thank you.
I'm thrilled.
Knowing
because-
that we finally got summer even in Sweden, so it's warm. and
Yes,
nice
yes, you're
and-
starting to get now, folks, you got to get that when they say it's warm, it's 72 degrees Fahrenheit,
It's warm.
which
Really warm.
which is warm for them. Now, they don't know about 109 degrees, which is what we get in Sacramento. So
Yeah.
I don't know what that
But
is.
it's wonderful.
Yeah,
All
it
the apples are blooming and all the
Oh,
flowers
great.
are coming, so it's absolutely gorgeous
Oh,
outside.
we're thrilled.
Mm.
We're thrilled.
And they'll enjoy it right up until the end.
Yeah, you will.
Right.
Yep.
So people go out for dinner late at night. And even when it gets cold, they put blankets on and they eat outside. So
Yes.
that's how much they enjoy the sun.
They enjoy the sun so much. I'm telling a secret on you guys. They enjoy the sun so much that in the last few days of sun, in September, getting into October, you'll still see them outside. Their heads pointed in the direction of what sunlight is left.
But Maria, I think we have up to 77, 78 right now.
Oh,
that's
wow.
really hot.
Oh my God. Oh, that's terrible. Oh,
God.
Lord.
Yeah, which is well deserved because the other months are very dark,
Yes.
including November, which is the worst.
Yeah.
When
Will
I
you-
ask my buddies, when we're talking, it's in November, and I'll say, how are you doing? They'll say, it's dark. It's dark. Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Enough of poking fun at Sweden. We're just jealous is all. We're just jealous.
But Maria, that we have this saying that if you're a good leader in Sweden, you never take any decisions for the organization in November because it will never turn out well because people
Ah.
are so depressed and into those things. So never
That's it.
take a
That's
major decision in any
That's it.
organization in November.
You should write a
absolutely
paper on
wrong.
that. You should write a paper on that, Ilva.
But Ylva, you're assuming that the decisions are not appreciated. Maybe they are, very positive decisions for the organization and the people.
Yeah, she's just
And we
saying.
really need it in November.
Yeah, she says she's just saying
People are
forget
too
it.
depressed.
They're too depressed. And come March or April, they'll say, I said what? I agreed to what?
We say yes to everything in May, between May and August.
You do, don't you?
Yes.
I love it.
Oh God.
Okay, enough of this frivolity.
Oh, there's
And
Gina.
yes, yes,
And
yeah. And there's Sheldon. Hey, Sheldon. Mwah, Sheldon. So we're assuming everyone
everyone.
has, hey,
Morning.
we're assuming everyone has set the arena. So please you know,
how do you get that done?
pick your 5 words and oops, here we go. And we are going to begin. What do you think?
Good. Hi, Diana.
Is there anyone here who is not familiar with setting the arena? Raise your hand. No, seriously, if there's anyone here.
Okay.
Okay, we're just going to do it together very quickly, okay? Who am I willing to be in order to produce an extraordinary result out of this interaction? I'm willing to be clear, focused, generous, empowering, and grateful. Rita?
I'm willing to be focused, empowering, creative, joyous, and appreciative.
Wonderful. Hannah? Unmuting.
Wait. I have it. We'll take someone else first.
Okay, Pia?
I'm willing to be appreciative, focused, generous, present, and receptive.
Thank you. Melissa?
Did you hear it?
Hi everyone, I'm Melissa. I am willing to be focused, present, grateful, joyous, and enthusiastic.
Great. Elizabeth?
I'm willing to be clear, creative, generous, receptive, and focused.
Great. Sami?
I am willing to be creative, focused, receptive, appreciative, and flexible.
Great. Katie?
I'm willing to be creative, gentle, grateful, kind, and present.
Thank you. Eva?
I am willing to be appreciative, focused, grateful, open, and receptive.
Thank you. Raquel?
I'm willing to be grateful, attentive, empowering, open, loving.
Thank you. Stephanie?
I am willing to be clear, attentive, generous, present, and receptive.
Great. Sorry, you could put it in the chat. It's okay.
I'll try. I'm willing to be attentive, flexible, grateful, present, and receptive.
I love it. Tina?
I am willing to be attentive, receptive, appreciative, supportive, and joyous.
Great. Gina?
I'm willing to be compassionate, truthful, vulnerable, courageous, and grateful.
Thank you. Diane? Diana, sorry.
I'm willing to be attentive, flexible, focused, open, and gentle.
Thank you, Sheldon.
I'm willing to be courageous, focused, grateful, kind, and truthful.
Great. John?
I'm willing to be enthusiastic, focused, joyous, kind, and receptive.
Thank you. Alberta?
I'm willing to be appreciative, creative, generous, joyous, and present.
Thank you. Risha?
Oh, you're on mute, honey.
Unmute.
I'm willing to be present, focused, attentive, grateful, and be appreciative.
Thank you. Hannah?
Yes, I'm willing to be focused, clear, enthusiastic, courageous, and attentive.
Great. And
did we miss anybody?
Did we miss anybody? No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Ylva?
Yeah, I'm willing to be open, present, grateful, courageous, and focused.
Thank you, my dear. And just answer silently with yourself right now. Am I willing to systematically dismantle my structure of knowing? Just silently, yes. Am I willing to be a demand for coaching? Just silently, yes. Am I willing to guarantee that whoever coaches me will be successful? Just silently, yes. All righty, all righty, all righty. We're in, we're in. Good, now we can do our work. I love it. So, here we are, session 2. And in order for us to kind of bring ourselves back on board, Raquel, if you'd please run the slide, the first one, please. All righty.
Let me preview. the
Yes, I think we
questions.
have other slides before that, sweetheart.
Do we?
Yeah, let's start on slide 32.
Oh.
Great. So, I love it. So next slide. Sheldon, would you please read what's on the board here?
Sure. Course objectives. In this course, you will learn about complexity as a worldview as well as a view of organizations. You will see how a knowledge of complexity enhances your ability to lead or coach effectively in organizations, and you will discover how to use this knowledge to lead or coach people to be more effective in organizations.
All righty, thank you. The syllabus is next, so you can see. So we're asking that you read the articles before each session and come prepared to discuss. Because unlike other courses that we teach at ACE, this is really a course. Yes, it's interactive, but we have lots of information to give you. And we ask that you look at how you're going to take the information that you're getting and the experiences that you're getting, and you're going to put it into your life, whether you're a leader, a consultant, a coach, or a mixture of all three of those things.
And we want you to really take a look at the complexity model and coaching to see how they intersect so well. The leader's framework for decision making will continue to be important to you. Try to spend some time with the model so that you're familiar enough with it, you know, what the situation is and the leader's decision-making options for each one of those, because you're going to, and I'm sure you have already, but you're going to encounter clients that are in these different stages. And it's going to be very important for you to listen to where they are so that you can normalize any of their concerns in that particular area. And as we go over, we're going to go through some of the slides quickly. But you want to be able to recognize when your client is applying an inappropriate method to a situation, just for you to be able to listen to and guide the person through.
So, and there we have it. And the session today is 5 Secret Stages of Success by this person. I don't know really who she is, but she comes highly recommended, Maria Nemeth, PhD.
At least by herself.
At least by myself. Yes, I'm a great person in my own mind. Let's put it that way. So, next slide, please. So, what questions or comments do you have from session 1? And in order to really think about them, Raquel, how many people do we have right now? Let me just see.
Raquel, are you on mute?
I am. Thank you. We have 17 people.
We don't have to hear from everybody.
Can you please put people into groups of 2 and 1 group of 3?
I can do that.
And we're going to give you 4 minutes to talk with each other about what questions you have from session 1.
And at the end, are they going to report out?
Yeah, and at the end, we'll have a few of you jump on the queue, as you often do, and talk about the questions and comments you have. We'll have enough for about 5 people, but we want all of you to get a chance to talk about the questions or comments that you have from session 1. So in a moment, Raquel will Give it to us.
Ready when you are.
Okay, 4 minutes from now. So make sure that both of you talk, okay? Or all three of you in the case of threes.
Oops, so sorry. Give me one moment. It looks
Okay,
like
I'll give you 2
Sally-
moments.
Thank you. Just lost somebody.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Look at how you're going to use this in your coaching.
See you shortly.
Hi, I didn't get into my room, so if you can please put me in my room.
Huh.
Are we back in our room? I'm not
I
sure.
have no idea what just happened. Let's see. I don't think raise hand participant. No, because it says join breakout room.
Yeah.
Well, we can just wait for others to come and join us. Oh, here we go.
We're the hosts.
So exciting. I wonder if that was a mistake.
All right. So you know the drill. Go down to the reactions and go to the raise hand. We'd like to hear from about 5 of you. So, and you know that if you don't raise your hand, we'll start calling on you. Sheldon, you must have a question or a comment. Come on, I know you. All righty.
I was trying to reserve, you know, I'm letting.
Yeah, right.
Let other
Forget it.
people go.
Forget it. Forget it. How about you, Pia? Or oh, great. Perfect. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. Sami, please.
So I was talking with my partner and we're both loving the model and just, yeah, taking it all in, but then also curious about, you know, putting it into practice, you know, figuring out what context you're in. And I said specifically for me is making sure I have that space to not go into like fix it mode where I'm just like, you know, now I have this understanding that I need to take, like, there are different contexts and it requires different behaviors and responses. So looking forward to getting that practice and seeing maybe some cases and things to kind of put it in perspective.
That's good. Let me give you an example of in the chaotic situation. So you may have a leader, a client who is very into empowering people and getting a lot of feedback from people before making a decision. That's not supportive in a chaotic situation. In a chaotic situation, the most important thing is to provide certainty so that people have the emotional wherewithal to begin to think about what it is they need to do and to be creative and to see that solutions might emerge. So that's one example.
Thank you.
Next.
And you know, it's often when you're consulting or coaching someone, you can give them the essential characteristic of each system and have them look at which system are they in.
Now, we don't expect you to be complexity science experts. This is just an introduction. So,
you know, but just because
that's why we give you the articles.
Yeah.
So that you can go back and look at them.
Thanks. Hannah.
Yeah, I was thinking about in the matrix, the differences between the chaotic and the complex situations, because my experience is that management and leaders often take the same actions. They take quick actions and they hire people or get rid of people and they start to, you know, act in a very irrational way. And I think those two are very similar in some way.
And they are similar. They are similar. They are similar. Complex can develop into chaotic, depending on what the situation is. And, you know, this is in part, not always, but in part, you'll find that people tend to think, managers and supervisors may think that it's the person that's the cause of the breakdown. I've found that that's very, except for exceptional cases, because, you know, every once in a while we run across someone who's having some emotional trouble and cannot really function at work. But it's very often the system. Something is wrong in the system when either the system is not responsive to the situation or the expectations are too high. So managers often they grow up in a system that says, if you do everything right, everything's going to turn out okay. But especially when you're going into a new situation, you have no idea, or you're creating a new product, or you're launching a new business, you have some idea because you should have some familiarity with what it is you do. But a lot of the situation is unknown. So in the best plan, you may have to deviate. And it's, and it's not something to blame on a person. It's just something to see in a situation.
What do you mean by deviate?
Well, let's say that you had a plan for what was going to happen this year. And you own a restaurant, and you've had the restaurant for a few years, and you've done some expansion and some, spiffed things up. Things are looking great. And next door, somebody opens another restaurant. So you may have to take a look at your business model, knowing that you have competition nearby. So you would change from your original plan into something else. That's what I mean by deviate.
Okay.
And in chaos, that's when it calls for a different response. If you look at each system and look at what is the leader's task in each system, you can see how it logically fits. So one of the most difficult things to do sometimes is to for leaders to give themselves a chance to sit back for a moment and observe.
Okay, so to turn from the reacting and the acting, you need to guide more towards the sense.
Exactly.
In a complex system, you would have some chance to take a look at what's going on. You won't have a chance to take a look at what's going on in a chaotic system, because there you're looking to establish stability.
You have to take immediate action. So you might say that those are one of the two things that differentiates these systems.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Thank you,
Mr. Sheldon.
Morning. I talked with Melissa, and I think I pronounced your name wrong earlier, so I apologize. We talked about, it's interesting, we both have like engineering, technology backgrounds, but also we're both now in the nonprofit space. And so the mixture of, information technology and systems, which was kind of the inspiration for my question last week, we can be very linear process system thinking, but we're both working in kind of like emotional feelings based spaces. And when you put those two together, I mean, separately and distinct, the other one's looking at what's wrong with you, and the other person, the feelings people are like, what's wrong with you? And so when you put those together, I think those are the great makings of the ability to identify these systems, one being the chaotic and one being the complex. Because I think, a lot of leaders, and I think you both just said this, if you react to feelings, or you get caught up in your feelings and you make decisions based on feelings without taking the time to sit back and observe, with the exception of being in a chaotic system, it can become troublesome. And so we're looking forward to see and learn more about the system and like what really constitute a system, because we've heard that there's a couple different kinds now, but like just an overarching 10,000 foot view of, okay, a system is X. I hope that made sense. I felt like
it does.
And think back in the technology installment. When you're putting in a new system, one of the things that has to be done is you have to talk to the stakeholders.
That's
Right.
feedback.
So in a way, you do that with a technology project, because you are eliciting feedback and information from the stakeholders. You know, what we used to say at Xerox was putting in a new system was 80% working with the stakeholders and 20% the physical installation. And that's fairly typical. You don't talk to the right people, you put in a system that doesn't work for them.
Exactly. No, I agree 100%.
Perfect. Thank you, Sheldon.
Sure,
As
thank
ever. Katie.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I had a wonderful professional experience the last 2 weeks in between taking our first class. In my role, I serve families, and oftentimes their families are in a crisis.
Mm.
And although it's not an organization or a company, I'm managing parents and a child who's often in a crisis. So really understanding the family dynamics and supporting a family from the chaos state and getting them stabilized into the complex state so that everybody can observe, see, tell the truth, take authentic action. Sometimes I feel like I'm in like an emergency room. So this was very helpful for me to just organize the structuring of how I use my consulting tools and skills, but then how I can also see the beauty of life coaching, integrating life coaching principles into a chaotic state so that one knows how to proceed forward when you're in the complex state.
Very
So
good.
it's just been a beautiful opportunity to be doing and learning at the same time, and then creating a new service in my program. It's been a busy 2 weeks, but it's been
Oh, that's
beautiful.
brilliant, Katie.
Congratulations.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
And the family enrolled with me even further for life coaching for their 16-year-old, because it really comes down to restorative justice.
Okay.
Got it.
Good
Well,
work.
all right, everybody. So we're going to take a little time here and revisit the different systems, so that I think now that we've had some time to look at them and discuss them, this little overview might make more
a
sense.
reminder.
Okay. And remember, you get these slides at the end of each session, so don't worry about having to take notes. What we really want you to do is to discern the differences, for you to see now that it will be probably less confusing this week, what little pieces of information and ways to proceed begin to emerge for you. So, Madam Raquel, please. We're going to go through them fairly quickly.
Give me one moment.
Sure. 1 moment, please.
Yeah.
So,
we're at the end.
yeah. Starting from the beginning.
Here we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're delving a little more into the unordered systems, because the other ordered systems, I think, were fairly easy to follow. But looking at, first of all, the complex system. So let's see. Okay, Katie, would you please read what's on this slide?
Unordered systems, the complex system. Characteristics: flux and unpredictability. No right answers, emergent instructive patterns. Things we don't even know that we don't know. Many competing ideas. A need for creative and innovative approaches. Pattern-based leadership.
So think back to when you were in an organization. Have you ever heard somebody say in the middle of a crisis, what don't we know? You know, there's that question is part of makes finding the emergent instructive patterns. What is an emergent instructive pattern? It means that something's showing up that you hadn't seen before. And the pattern-based leadership is you responding or your client responding to things that are beginning to show up that they may not even, they may be like, no, this stuff is, this and this is happening. That hasn't happened before.
Yeah, this is new.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm not sure what to do about that. Should I eliminate it? Should I just like stay on my path? So that's, here's where you need creative and innovative approaches. To be willing to look and see. That's the trick here, to be willing to look and see. To know that you come in with the 4 boxes with an idea already in your mind. Now, it may turn out that the idea that you already have in your mind is the right solution, but it may not be. So you want to be open to people's ideas.
Got it? So we look for things to emerge. Next. The leader's job. Okay, Sammy, please read the leader's job.
The leader's job: probe, sense, respond, create environments and experiments that allow patterns to emerge, increase levels of interaction and communication, use methods that can help generate ideas, large group methods, encourage dissent.
Great. Rita, would you please speak to encouraging dissent?
So in some situations, you have people who are kind of going along and they all seem to have the same idea. And then you have an outlier. The outlier is someone who has a completely different idea or identifies the dilemmas of the already established, this is the way we're going to do it. You always want to listen. I'm not saying, now, there's in my experience, people say, I want to be heard. Listening and being heard is not the same as falling into agreement. So
what's the difference?
You want to listen to the ideas. You want to be open to that. And sometimes we have people who are not the best communicators. So they're really a pain in the butt when they, have their criticism. You as a leader or the person who you're seeing has to develop a resilience to be able to listen to that. Not necessarily agree, but sometimes the outliers are the harbingers. What's another word for harbinger?
Well, like the canary in the mine.
Sometimes they notice things that the rest of us have kind of like swept aside. So always good to listen. Encourage people to have ideas, and then after sensing through these ideas, responding to them with appropriate action.
On another point, Abraham Lincoln was known for having people in his cabinet that didn't agree with him because he wanted to have that kind of interaction with folks. He didn't want the same entrained thinking. This is the way we should do it because this is the way we've always done it. That is, Rita has some real stories about this is the way we've always done it, so let's just keep doing it this way.
Yeah.
Maybe we can coax her to giving us some examples, at least later on in this course. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I'm thinking about all those incidents that
Oh, yeah.
happened, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
my hair begins to curl.
Yes, it does.
So, okay, let's go on to the next.
So, danger signals.
Next slide.
Yeah, she's getting it up.
Oh, okay.
There we go. All right. Now, in terms of reading it for us, Pia, can you read it for us?
Of course. Danger signals. Temptation to fall back into habit habitual command and control mood, temptation to look for facts rather than allowing patterns to emerge, desire for accelerated resolution of problems, or
Exploitation.
exploitation
yeah.
exploitation of opportunities.
Thank you, ma'am. So any questions or any comments from any of you?
You know, I really encourage you to look back at your own experience. By the time this course is ended, what most people say was, you know, I kind of thought that, but I couldn't put words to it. I couldn't explain why I was thinking that at the time. So this is giving you some, a way to articulate with your clients and the people who you consult with what might be happening. It's so easy to fall back into a control mode in a complex system.
Oh, yeah.
You know, listen, all of us are, especially small business people, they don't have time to wait around. You know, they've got to do what they've got to do in order to keep the doors open. So it's really a fine line.
Because the temptation is just, you know, and it's because of the discomfort. You know, you're doing something that may not have become habitual for you before, you know, like looking and seeing, observe, see patterns emerging.
Asking people.
Oh, my
Some
God.
people, you know, you really have to, when I was running the California Department of Social Services, the office building that I was in, there were 800 people in it. Once a week, I would go through all 7 floors and talk to the employees. How's it going? What are you doing? Oh, why are you doing that? You know, how's your family?
Oh, that picture there, is that your kids?
Yeah, just beginning to talk to people and to understand what the hell is going on. You know, the more levels there are, the less you are in touch with people who are actually on the ground doing the work. So, so important to listen.
So, Alberta was saying, well, you know, knowing the natural tendency of leaders, how do you support them to be able to do what is necessary? And well, that's where good coaching comes in, you know?
And, you know, having people look and see, is this all that is available for you to do? Is this all that is available for you to do? Have you talked to your staff? Did you notice anything that people were saying that might be useful to you in the decision that you finally make? You know, as you implement the decision, are you still listening for possible breakdowns?
You know, and sometimes I've known folks, one person that I'm coaching who's the head of a big organization. The boss, this is in Japan, they decided to do a survey. And it was anonymous, you know, and they said, please tell the truth about what you're seeing. And, you know, some of the response was not easy to look at, but it took a lot of courage for the leaders to say, all right, we're seeing a pattern here. Let's look at what we can really do. So we have Diana, Ilva, and Eva with this. So Diana, my dear.
I was wondering if you could provide an example or a case study of the last slide that we looked at. It's just like I'm reading and it kind of makes sense on its own, but I'm having a
Which
hard time
one? Is it
picturing
the
it.
danger signals or the temptation?
Yeah, the last one.
We had
like the exploitation of opportunities, like an example of that. would be great. Thank you.
Okay.
It's, one of it is the natural tendency to want a quick fix. And can any of you think of, any of you guys?
Didn't other people have had their hands up too?
That what she was asking about.
But there were two other
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Okay.
So do any of you have this, why would people want a quick fix?
Because
Anybody?
they're uncomfortable, don't want to be anxious anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
So,
they think it's easier.
yeah. Oh, there you go.
Sometimes they don't know how to do anything except quick fixes, which are typically reactions.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so this third point, desire for accelerated resolution of problems or exploitation of opportunities. Exploitation of opportunities might be, we know these consultants we can hire. There's a new management system that's just out and it's great. Let's see if that is going to work. Rita has other examples of exploitation of opportunities.
Yeah, just if you're listening to the people you're working with, they have lots of ideas. And you might find in your, you remember it said probe, sense, respond. So in the process of that, you could bring up some of those ideas to your leadership team and say, what about if we consider doing this? I think that's
Yeah. I had a team drowning in tasks, and let's see, had a team drowning in tasks, lack of priorities, and I felt like implementing a project management tool would help. Exactly. Seemed easy enough, but not for them. You got it. Just,
sometimes people have the answer to what the problem
yeah,
is.
they do.
Especially when it's task and priorities. It's like, if somebody would just tell me which is the most important thing, I'll do that first, rather than, all the priorities. You've heard people say this. I know they say it in the United States. I don't know if they say it in Sweden. They say, this is the flavor of the month.
Exactly.
Every month, somebody at the top has some brand new idea, and then we do it, and then they move on, and then there's the next thing of the month. You really, unless people have certainty and stability in the workplace, they can't have resilience. So what happens is everything begins to mush together in their mind. They themselves begin to have trouble. I don't want to say sussing. Differentiating between what is more important than the other. And sometimes, frankly, and I know you've experienced this, the people at the top who have this brilliant idea have no idea what it's going to take to implement the idea. So the poor people, the middle managers and the poor people underneath them are left to struggle with something that requires more time than anybody ever anticipated. And then what happens? The leaders say that the supervisors are not supervising properly. They're not managing the workplace, the workforce. The workforce is kind of throws up their hands and they do a kind of a half complete job.
And then another flavor of the month. Okay, so we have two more, Ylva and Eva.
Okay, some thoughts on this. One thing is, I think it's culturally extremely difficult to be a leader in complex systems because it goes so much counterintuitive what we have been brought up as from the young people. You were asked, what is 1 + 1? 2. You're always required to give an answer, and when you give one answer to a question, you're giving a star and a golden check, and everything goes fine.
Yeah.
So when you're not able to provide with an answer or a solution, you feel not as a good leader. I think very, very culturally, and I think that's very common for everyone.
Yes,
because we're
it is.
educated in being. And there are two things that I'm thinking of. In Sweden, we use this trust-based leadership. That leadership that is actually based on trust between leadership and employees, and how you can evolve that is creating this discussion. And there is some organizational theories around this trust-based leadership that are actually very interesting, because it's based upon other values, I would say, than the normal action-based leadership. There's also another thing that I think you could have as like sort of a metaphor when you have to work with complex systems or wicked problems, which is that those problems, you can't solve them. They can just be dissolved, which is a good metaphor of how to actually look at them. There's not a solution, but you have to find sort of how to dissolve the problem, how to go back and sort of find the roots and actually taking away the behind driving forces.
Cause, yeah,
Some
exactly.
comments to this.
Yeah. Very good.
Beautiful. Well done. Eva.
Yes, I was actually thinking in the same areas as you, Ylva. And I was a bit curious about what do you mean by falling back into habitual command and control mode? You mean like the leader taking charge?
That's it.
That's exactly it.
Deciding, using
Yeah.
the power.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, because and I'm also thinking about the complexity, how we divide this in our context here. We are discussing a lot due to societal change. That we always have a level of complexity. Actually, it's getting more and more complex, we say, and to some extent, of course, it's true. Hence, we need sort of the habitual mode more being managing in the complexity areas together with employees in an organization. So the role of the leader is shifting to a more like a catalyst or co-creator together with people. Yeah, more rapidly than before.
That's it.
And yeah, isn't it? And I think I've been trying out these tools with groups. Actually, I mean, people are normally today, at least a lot of the people I meet, I mean, I like to say generally, kind of highly educated and, aware and want to contribute, etc. And when they get these kind of tools into their hands in a group setting, together with the leader, you can have a conversation, creating a much greater understanding, sorting out what do we have here, how do we approach it. So it creates sort of a system response that makes it easier also to lead.
It's good.
I just wanted to, it's working very well actually with groups. And when you're inviting them to look at these areas and sorting out what we are dealing with and expecting them to contribute in these.
Great.
It also lessens the pressure on the leader.
Of course it does.
It's actually a tough job today,
It
especially
is.
like you
It
said,
is.
you're in the middle somewhere, to take that kind of leadership that we have been maybe expecting from leaders before.
Thank you.
And I think we
finally-
are doing quite well in that area in Sweden. We are actually very interested in these kind of mechanisms and systems. Of course, it sometimes takes time, However, it makes a more robust organization that is practicing to deal with more complex situations and matters over time, and managing their own stress levels much easier as well.
Thank you.
Resilience.
Resilience.
Yeah, resilience, exactly.
Right.
Long-term
Right.
capability of the organization and people therein.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very good.
John. And John is the last person. Then we're going to take a 5-minute comfort break and return for the next part of our seminar today. So please, John.
I'm wondering if in this sort of way of thinking about organizations, if a disordered system or a non-ordered system, whatever the bottom two are, is generally viewed as a problem, or if complex is sometimes the desired state of an organization. I think of like a church or an extended family, which which mostly seem, in my experience, and maybe it's just my church and my family, but just like seems like it's complex when it's healthy, chaotic when it's not.
You got
I
it.
can't remember the time that it goes to simple or complicated.
Yeah, no, you
it's-
got it.
We're,
You got
we're,
it.
changes are happening too rapidly right now for most things not to be in a complex state.
Mm-hmm.
There are, a complex adaptive system is impacted by all kinds of things. Somebody's decision, a natural disaster, a political situation,
A new regulations.
We really are mostly consulting with people or having clients who are in a complex situation. If things were simple, they probably wouldn't be coming to us.
So we're going to hurry through the next couple of slides, and then we'll go on to what's next. So Raquel, if we could have the leader's job quickly. Act, that's chaotic.
Right.
The leader's job for the complex system.
We talked about that.
Yes.
Encourage dissent, get other ideas.
Yep.
Increase the interaction.
And so there you have it. Okay.
So I know you're right. It's very hard in some situations, and in some situations it's impossible. So I'm running a department. I get a message from the governor's office. They want this done. So, sometimes you don't have a choice. You have to take action. But in the best situations, a little bit of patience, a time to think about what everybody's saying to you, and encouraging the type of interactions to have new ideas emerge.
Now we're going to go through very quickly the chaotic system, just so you can see the differences and look at the difference in the energy. Okay. High turbulence, no clear cause and effect relationship. You don't know why it's happening, and things we can't know even if we wanted to. Many decisions to make and no time to think. High tension, pattern-based leadership. Next. Leader's job, act. Okay. First, take action. Sense and then respond. Look for what works instead of seeking right answers. Take immediate action to reestablish order. This is command and control. Provide clear, direct communication. Now, here are some of the dangers. Applying command and control longer than is needed. Got it? The cult of the leader. We've got to do everything the leader says. Why? Because they say it. And, some of us are aware of certain in politics right now where this is very evident. Missed opportunities for innovation. Chaos goes unabated. It means it continues on. In fact, some leaders love to create chaos. Next, response. Set up parallel mechanisms or teams to take advantage of opportunities that are there, afforded by a chaotic environment. Encourage advisors to challenge your point of view once the crisis has abated. Work to shift the context from chaotic to complex. So in other words, instead of command and control, which so many leaders are used to, after you have established a certain amount of order or lessening of the crisis, work to shift the context from chaotic back to complex.
And remember, in your coaching of people, sometimes it's the leader who has the cult of the leader.
Yep.
So something works well, and then they think they're in charge, and then they want to stay in charge.
Yep.
And got to be careful about that too.
Yes.
They want to stay to the same control in a new situation.
Yep. Okay, everyone, we're taking a 5-minute comfort break. Then we are coming back and we are going to look at the 5 secret stages of success. Got it?
All right, everyone, come on back.
All righty. John, you're in your car. You can't hear me yet. Hi, Gina. Gina. I hope you're having fun. Mr. Oh, great. Mr. John, I hope you're not driving.
You can listen and drive.
You can't hear right now.
Just getting it all set up.
All righty. Perfect. Okay, let's begin. So, Mr. John, I can see you're driving, and we ask that you really,
No,
I'm not driving.
oh, thank God. Okay.
There's power's out in my neighborhood, and so my phone was about to go out too. So I'm just plugged in.
I got it.
But thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate the concern.
Yeah. Okay, good. All righty. So, we are going to go on to these 5 secret stages of success. Now, bottom line, when I developed them many, many years ago, it was just to give an instructive manual for how to bring things from visionary into physical reality, a different way to visualize it, a different way to comprehend. So, with that in mind, we'll just go through each of the 5 stages and ask if you have any questions or thoughts, because we're we're taking that you've already read it. It's fairly simple to read, and that you see the checklist of what to do at each stage. So I love this first quote, putting on the slides. That starts with Ursula Le Guin. It's good to have an end to journey toward, but it is the journey that matters in the end. Right? We all know that. The hero's journey, yes? It's the journey. How we execute it.
How
So,
we enjoy it
yeah, please.
or survive it.
Okay, so here we go. So we're going to look at each stage and then give the the practical, this is what you got to do. And we'll give some examples and ask for some comments from any of you. We'll be spending about no more than, I say, 8 minutes on each stage, because they're fairly self-evident. So creation. Aha, remember this? Visionary reality, physical reality. Stage 1. So here we go. Brainstorm, don't leave any ideas out. The creation phase is what many of us love, right? That because we get to think about what it is, we get to dream. But you see, there are some practical things that you have to do. And Tina, I'd like you just to read them out, please.
Brainstorming. Don't leave any ideas out. Get resources together, make contacts, network, build supportive relationships. Clear away barriers to getting what you want, such as any incomplete business. Make a clear goal and link it to an intention, i.e., to be a successful entrepreneur, to be a well-respected professional, to be financially successful, and so on. Get alignment from significant others on your vision. Create time and accurate scheduling. Begin the project. Secure the services of a coach and/or consultant.
So we see in this stage, this is really for us coaches, I think a checklist that is good for our clients when they're announcing this is something I want to be able to do, okay, how to make this, successful with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. Well, there's some things you have to do at each stage. And if you don't complete an item at a particular stage, what I've noticed is it takes you either to the stage before or all the way back to creation. So it's really good to have a leader or a coaching client to make sure that they've done all these things. And you see a lot of it has to do with securing support. Okay, not afterward, not as you're launching it, but while you're even getting the idea together. And make sure your significant others are aligned. I notice that in working with clients, I very rarely ask, does your husband or wife or sweetheart, are they aligned with you on this? Is this something that they want to see happen as well? Rita, anything you want to say to this?
Hear, hear.
Yeah, she knows.
Well, one of the reasons that this get resources together, make contacts, network, build supportive relationships. No matter what you create, there are going to be times, I'm kind of preaching to the choir, when you just don't think it's going to work. And you need to be able to have a network to rely on. The network is always stronger than the individual. So I'm sure there have been times in your life where you wanted to do something and you began to do it and it was like, oh my God, whose bad idea was this? And you talked to a couple of friends and they got you on the right track again, and you continued on.
Good. Second, stage 2. Okay, this is liftoff. Now, why did I call it liftoff? Well, it really is like a rocket ship. When you begin to launch an idea into physical reaction, a physical reality, there is this immediate reaction. Those of us who study energy, we know that the high energy of visionary reality, where everyone's excited and we're going to go, yes, we're going to go and get this. It's going to be the best in the world. Opening up a restaurant, we're going to make the best tacos ever. And then you hit liftoff and you get a natural pushback. Now, that's why we need 10 times more energy to produce 1 unit of result. Why? Because the energy in physical reality is condensed. There's density there. You can imagine yourself lifting a chair with a finger. Imagine, but you try to do it in physical reality, very hard. Similarly, opening up a business, let's say for an entrepreneur, writing a book, doing anything that you want to see in physical reality, immediately you're going to get this natural pushback.
And for those people who are in the field of technology or have been, that putting in a system, a solution, it is a lot more complicated than people think it is. And so you hear these stories of outrage in the papers about how this didn't work and that didn't work and this didn't work.
Yep.
And it's putting in a business solution is not like plugging in your laptop so you can work on it. It really does require a tremendous amount of what we talked about in creation and continued working on it, especially when you're doing something that's not a repeat of something else that you did, because I think doing something you haven't done before, although you should have some familiarity with it, doing something that you haven't done before is like driving down a country road. You have your headlights from your car, so you can see where you're going. You probably even have a map, but there's a lot more that you don't see. So that's why doing that kind of driving is so tiring on people, because it's always about making the next decision, the next decision, and the next decision, because you're encountering things you've never experienced before.
So, when we say avoid distractions, when we are at liftoff in a project, those of us with creative minds, and I'm saying everyone in this seminar, you know who you are, everyone here, your brain will automatically start thinking, God, this is so hard. Why don't I try something else? Which becomes like this bright, shiny object in visionary reality again. Like, I'm not going to write a book on this. Why don't I write a book on this other thing? I just read an article, and this is what people want to know about. So you start that book, and lo and behold, you're in liftoff, and something else will be more attractive. When you're I tell you, when you're a coach, this is one of the dangers that your client will face, because they will try to convince you as well as themselves that the next great idea is the one. Tina, I don't have housework, but when things get hard in my business, suddenly it seems the right thing to do. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, gotta
Is she an ENFP?
Maybe the rearranging the cleaning out your refrigerator. Oh yeah, best time, right?
Especially when you're trying to write something.
So this is what you got to do. Have really clear targets. Work out how to get results in doable increments. Make small and consistent promises for authentic action.
Now, this small and consistent promises, it's become a very popular recommendation. You see it in popular magazines and in people's books. People have just gotten that promising the big thing and going after it without breaking it down just creates a lot of stress for people. If you have small, consistent promises, you have an accomplishment, and that's always an encouragement.
And when you are yourself a coach and you're starting your business, you've got to make these small promises. I will have one new client within the next 14 days instead of 5 or 6 clients. Keep going. Focus all activity on getting results. Clear away extraneous or irrelevant ideas. Go on.
This is one of Maria's big struggles.
Oh my God.
The next brilliant idea. Oh, well, we could do this and we could do that. And then, well, let's ask the staff to do this. It's like, whoa.
Exactly. No shortcuts. Please.
Clear away extraneous and irrelevant activity. Remember, high level of input to low level of output. No shortcuts. Have a support system. Once again, your network, have a support system dedicated to your results. Be coached whenever necessary. Keep your word regarding the results. Another value of doing small steps.
Yeah.
Because then you can continue to keep your results. Delegate work and elicit authentic promises. Acknowledge results regularly. Put in a system to help you handle stress. Now, in the workplace, one of the significant problems we always encountered when we were doing consultations in companies was that people do not delegate well and they do not elicit authentic promises. So what happens is someone offers you, you ask someone to do something. You have all the ideas in your mind about how it should look, but you don't articulate those. You just assume because the person works with you or because they do something similar, they know how to do the job. So what happens is somebody comes back with the work you gave them and you say, well, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I said. you really have to work at delegating work in a way that gives examples of what you want. That's very clear. When somebody comes back with something that you didn't ask for, you really need to look at how you asked for it.
Yep.
And you need to be able to accept authentic promises. So, you know, if somebody tells you it's going to take a little longer, it may just take a little longer.
And, you know, I know personally how important it is at the liftoff stage. There was a time once then when I was writing the Mastering Life's Energies book. And no, it was the Energy of Money book. And I asked 3 friends who knew me and knew my basic assumption, which is I can't. I told them how I was going to behave when I hit my point of mastery and wanted to give up. So each one of them called me on a different day. And the question was, how are you doing, Maria? And what's your promise for today? Because I was going to write a little thing every day.
And they asked you, are you sitting at your computer?
Yeah, are you sitting at your computer? Is it turned on? They would say. Yes. And I would promise today I will write a page. That was it. Listen.
And tell them what they said.
Oh, no.
Okay.
And you know that 3 pages a day for a book are 3 books a year. 1 page a day is 1 book a year. Do the math. Anyway, so I told them how I would react when I was at my point of mastery. And all the things I would say. So it went very well. You know, they'd take turns and I would keep my promises. One day I was absolutely at my point of mastery. And and the person said, hi, Maria, good morning. Yes. Are you at your desk in front of your computer? Yes. Is it turned on? Yes. And how many pages are you going to write today? And I just, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. This was the most terrible idea in the world. No one's going to want to read this thing. Everyone's going to think I'm so stupid. I just can't do it. And there's a pause at the other end. And she said, I hear you. And how many pages are you going to write today? Why? Because she was in alignment with my goal. She didn't go into collusion with my monkey mind. Got it? And so the book was written. Next. Momentum. Now, I want to tell you, this is one of the stages of a project where many businesses fail. And I'll tell you why. There's less energy to achieve the same results. The project picks up speed. Make sure you deliver on the promises made in stage 2. Don't expand the project just because it's easier. Don't fix anything that isn't broken. This is what happens. So there was a little Mexican restaurant here in Sacramento, and they were open for a little while, and they had some clientele that would come in every day and have lunch, and they were reviewed by the food critic in Sacramento, who gave them 5 stars and said how wonderful their food was. Well, the next day when they opened, they had a line of people waiting to get in, like almost around the block. And they didn't have enough food. They didn't have enough seating space to even seat all these people. And after a while, people got tired and they left and went off to their fast food restaurant or whatever and got their lunch.
It was a lot of stress for the staff.
A lot of stress. I mean, people were just
worn down.
Oh, God. Next day, very few people. Why? Because the customers had not been taken care of. And of course, everyone says, well, I just know this place is going to be too busy, so let me go to the other place. And that's when businesses start to fail. So that's why we say in momentum, do not overpromise. Do not overpromise and underdeliver. That's the one thing that will break people's trust in your company. If anything, in momentum, you can underpromise and overdeliver. So checklist. Deliver on the promises generated in stage 2. Don't go overboard. Focus on timely delivery of product or service. Expand project only within authentically set limits. Watch for hype or greed, overpromising what you can do. Continue to build relationships based on integrity. Begin an evaluation process. Delegate responsibilities. Allow for the shift to momentum. Don't make work harder if it isn't. Don't fix anything that isn't broken. Continue to acknowledge results. Rest and have time for recreation.
There's something going on in the United States. I don't know if it's going on elsewhere. You're gonna have to help me with how this is described. So people are selling products in the market, in the supermarket. They're selling products in the market. What began to be noticed all over the country was it was the same packaging, but less product. What do they call that? They have a name for it now.
Whatever.
Shrinkflation.
Yeah, shrinkflation. So that's what's happening all over the place. You got the same box with less cereal. You got the same loaf of bread, but it was smaller, but it was in the same package. So that's the hype or greed part of it.
What is it called again?
Shrinkflation.
Shrinkflation. I love it. I have another kind of story almost like that, but it's really better in the stability phase. So stage 4. Stability. The steady progress, the project seems to run itself. Guard against entropy. There's a tendency to lose energy.
You want to explain that?
I will in a moment. Evaluate results and check for quality. Now, when a project seems to run itself, there's a tendency to take your eye off the project. And like a rocket ship that's gotten into the orbit, you know that if it keeps going, eventually, because of gravity, it'll start lowering down a little bit.
Is this like,
and then a little bit.
is this like the airplane correcting the computer?
No,
code?
not quite. No, not quite. But at some point, the rocket will not be at the energy level that it needs to be to keep the orbit going because of this natural pull, and it starts to crash. It'll run down. It'll lose its position. And, unless it's started up very quickly, you could lose the rocket.
No, it's
So-
just entropy.
Entropy is the tendency of all systems to lose energy.
No, but that happens in biology too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. It happens in biology. It's just a natural, you learn it in physics. And, in physics, it's everything that is built or everything that is growing, for example, will lose energy, and plants die because they've lost energy. There is no such thing as a perpetual motion machine. People have tried for years to construct some sort of a machine maybe empowered by magnets or whatever, but it never loses energy. And it's impossible. You know, people have been trying to do like these little balls that they have moving in space, and they say, well, this will always be here. There's no entropy. Always. Tina, I've definitely noticed a loss of energy as I get older, and I keep moving anyway. You got it. You got it.
Right.
You got it,
That's
sweetie.
resilience.
Oh my God. Oh, I love it. So, an example, another example, it might be more like shrinkflation, but many years ago, there's a place in California called Knott's Berry Farm. And of course, many years ago, Knott's Berry Farm was a berry farm, and they had this great restaurant. Now you go into the restaurant, and the first thing they would do is give you these great biscuits, and you'd order your food, and they'd always give you this rhubarb compote. It was great. And for dessert, you, of course,
Berry
you'd get
pie.
the berry pie, and a scoop of ice cream. And it was a big scoop in those days. And you'd leave, you'd be very, very satisfied. Well, I went to the thing about 25 years later. And you walk through the door and you sit down. They don't give you as many biscuits. A dish that holds the rhubarb compote is smaller. The serving of food is smaller, especially, and this is the thing, the berry pie. So they bring out the berry pie. It's a smaller slice, but the ice cream looks the same until you start to eat it. And this is what they learned how to do. They got these scoopers that they could scoop the ice cream with and create this kind of a ball, but it was hollow. And it looked like the same amount of ice cream. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, they reached stability, and now they're starting to go into entropy. And we see this in big systems. You see this in state departments in California. Rita has led, what is it now, 4 major departments in the state of California. And one of the departments had, was it 10,000 people? And multi-billion-dollar budget. So this woman is a marvel. She's a marvel.
Well, I'll tell you, this department used to have a very solid reputation.
One of the ones she led.
Yeah, the last one that I led.
Oh, that one.
And what happened during COVID is that it hit a chaotic situation. So I was asked to come in and for 1 year and prepare the staff, the chief deputies, to be the director.
Now I'm gonna interrupt a minute. The governor's office calls her on January 1st. And they say, Rita, would you please fix this department? Now, Rita is a retired annuitant, so she could only stay there for a year. And she ended up staying 13 months. But we had no idea, really, what it was going to look like when she stepped into it. Okay, please continue, Rita.
And it was in chaos. It wasn't producing. It was creating problems for everyone. The people who were trying to get their services, the legislature, the governor's office. There wasn't anybody who was not upset. And this had been at one time an exemplary department. But what happened over time was that people lost a sense of urgency for making things right. And so I worked with it for a year. We were able to put in some major improvements and then I turned it over. But you know, the best of things can run down as far as that goes. Big organizations, little organizations.
And she managed, if you can visualize this, she managed to turn the Titanic away from the iceberg. Okay. It was like,
Using this, the complexity model and this system.
so it works. So instability, please, let's look.
That's what we just covered. Right.
So you have to have an evaluation process. One of the things that happens when things are going right for so long, evaluation drops out. Be vigilant, no shortcuts in quality of product or service. Be on lookout for what is missing. Set new standards for excellence and reward excellence. Keep excitement and energy high. Look for entropy. Guard against the arrogance of knowing it all. Provide room for expansion. So there, my dears, you have it. So the next phase, breakthrough. The opportunity to take a project to the next level. But first you have to learn to let go of old ways of doing things and learn to move outside of your comfort zone. Example. Many, many years ago, an employee that worked at McDonald's approached Ray Kroc, who was the owner. And he said, I have an idea. And, you know, we sell hamburgers for lunch and dinner. I have an idea for a breakfast that people could hold in their hands.
Like a hamburger.
Like a hamburger, but it's going to have egg in it. It'll have bacon and cheese, whatever. And Ray Kroc was intrigued. Now, some owners would say, I don't think so. Let's just keep doing our hamburgers. But Ray Kroc said, no, we're going to try this out. So he took 2 or 3 of their stores. They put in new, they had to put in new equipment. And sure enough, the McDonald's egg McMuffin began. And
now they have egg burritos.
Oh yeah, it single-handedly, listen, it was one of the breakthroughs that single-handedly changed how Americans relate to each other, the family. Because up until then, the family tradition was everyone is around the table, they're eating their cereal, they're eating their eggs. This is one of the times that they can actually communicate. But no, the minute they have this egg McMuffin or whatever, then other stores created all kinds of things. And like Rita says, you know, burrito breakfast or whatever. But our economy and the way we relate to each other changed because of this one product. That is what we mean by breakthrough. Okay. So what do you have to do in breakthrough? Well, this is really something. You've got to assess how you've been doing things up until now and commit to breakthrough. Okay, even if it's uncomfortable. Listen to your own vision or that of others for expansion, like this thing with Ray Kroc.
And also, in a large organization, you really have to prepare people for breakthrough, or it will be a failure. If people are not aligned and committed and a part of the change, designing the change, they're not going to like it.
And be willing to have the breakthrough and commit resources to creating it. And then, of course, what happens is that particular project goes to stage 1. And so what we see then is this continuous loop from breakthrough, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5, which is this building a space station after the first rocket ships were able to fly predictably. And there you go. They had to commit resources to doing that. So, Eva, it wasn't a breakthrough health-wise.
No. This is true.
So, questions. Where can you apply what you've read and learned in your practice as a coach or a leader? Do you guys have any examples? And just think about it right now. We have about 10 minutes for people to share. What do you see about this for you? Maybe as a coach, maybe as a business owner, maybe as a consultant. How might knowing this enhance the value that you bring to whatever it is you're doing? Anyone, just take a moment. Let's have like a minute of silence, and then we'll hear from some of you. Okay, Tina's up there. Who else? Okay. Let's just get a couple more, maybe one more person. Come on, Stephanie, you know you want to. Come on, I can tell.
I do.
I could just tell. Starting with Tina.
One of the thoughts that came up when you were at the creation stage in getting support, I coach for a leadership development program that's tied to the agricultural industry in California. It's a very intensive 17-month program. They have a lot of travel, going to seminars, and also they have a national and an international trip that takes them away from work and family for a couple of weeks at a time. And the fellows that I'm coaching, there are always, it seems like each year there's one or two that are not getting the full support of either their family or their work. And that really holds them back from being able to be fully successful in the program, creates a lot of stress that they then have to manage. So it just brought up to me the importance of really getting clear at the beginning what about this is important to them, and being able to communicate that and enroll both their work and their partners in supporting them through this program, and knowing that yes, there's times that it's going to be difficult, and that those are the times when they especially need support from those folks.
That's great. Thank you. Gina.
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you for sharing the article and just rereading all the steps again. I think it's relevant in all, like whether you're a coach or personally when you're launching your own project or when you're coaching someone and they're in that stage, because it really normalizes what everybody goes through when they're creating something. And so I find that to be extremely helpful. And even just the example you gave, Maria, about writing your book and having, you know, the accountability and having the support, it just reminds me again the need for support, and also to communicate that well to our clients when we're coaching them, that it is good to have support and it is essential to continue. It's essential. Absolutely. So thank you for the article and rereading this. It was very good.
Thank you. Thanks. Stephanie.
Yes, thank you. So what came up for me was just as it applies to my own work. And I have, I created this to leverage enjoyment because I love soccer, but this is my goal with my life's intention. And what I've noticed is that I've got, I had a goal up until September 30th to create 4 organizational leadership retreats and 2 collections of, of women that I want to create groups for. And what I notice is that I'm in the momentum stage with organizational retreats, and that's why I have all 4, but not yet the 2 groups that I want to create. And so I'm in liftoff, and I saw that I have not broken it down into the steps for that aspect. So 2 different stages. So just this helped me to see that more
That's
clearly.
amazing. You know, I have a very embarrassing story that I want to tell you guys about. It's when I was acting as a licensed clinical psychologist, okay? And I had a private practice. And in those days, we called them patients. So, and I came to Sacramento to be with Rita, and this is 49 years ago, because we've been together for 49 years. So I worked hard to get patients and to get them to see them. And I had offices. It was great. I had a secretary. I mean, it was just
You had a
wonderful.
waiting list?
Yeah, I actually had a waiting list of people who wanted to see me. Okay. So I'm obviously in stability. Now, one of the things about stability is this. I found myself saying, well, you know, I don't have to make any calls this week for people who might be interested in having psychotherapy with me, either a group or individual. I don't have to do it. Look, I have a waiting list. And the next week, I don't have to do it. You know, look, I have a waiting list. It's a little smaller, but hey, you know, not every therapist has a waiting list. Well, it went on and on until one day I opened up my calendar and I had lots of white spaces, fewer patients,
No waiting
clients,
list.
no waiting list. And my rocket ship was losing its trajectory and starting to fall back to earth. So what did I have to do? Well, it took me right back to liftoff. And I began calling and speaking. I would do these breakfast talks with all kinds of groups in the community, the women's lawyers groups, the builders. There's a women builders organization of women who build homes, all kinds of stuff. And if any of you are ever interested, I can give you all kinds of hooks that you can use to get these interest groups.
And they kept their her practice full.
Yeah, and then I went back to get my practice full. So, you know, that temptation just to put your feet up. You know.
Yes.
Ilva,
Thank you for
please.
that.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit curious about if you are into really complex systems, and the stages, they're so nice and neat, but I think that when you are in this more complex situations, how do you handle? I mean, what do you sort out first? The complexity, where it's like a vulnerable and a volatile world, and it's uncertain, and it's ambiguous, and all those things, and the stages, because I think I'm just curious. I'm not really seeing the connections. Could you maybe
Absolutely,
be a little
absolutely.
bit clearer about that one?
Absolutely. So let's say you're dealing with a complex situation. And by now we've looked to observe, you know, what it's about and the leader's job, et cetera, et cetera. There's another level of evaluation, which is, okay, how long has this business been open? All right. What kind of results have they produced in the past? Is some of the breakdown because they've started to put their feet up?
Well,
okay.
Is the breakdown, is the source of the breakdown, does any of it relate to these stages and inappropriate actions in these stages? Is that what the source is? You identify the situation as a complex situation. You know, you need to probe, sense, and respond. So a part of the probing is look at these stages and see if what's not working has anything to do with those stages.
That's it.
And then either a failure to do what's necessary at the stage, or a mix of, are they doing things across the stages that are really not appropriate for the situation?
Thank you very, very much.
Good. It's just a different level of evaluation. Well, my dears, we are almost at the end of our time today. It's wonderful to have you here. You know, what can I say?
Homework. I am waiting for homework from some people. So please get your homework in. And please title the homework MOC, mock homework.
This is the only way you're going to get credit for this course, for
Yes.
those of you who are taking it for credit. Write a one paragraph summary, okay? Just a paragraph of what you learned from this session. It's going to be due by the end of the day this Friday. Email, really, they can still email it to me and you get it, don't you?
No, they have them, email it to me and Raquel. I do a lot of Maria's email.
Yes, so
send it to me. And
I'll have that updated in the email that goes out to them.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Send it to me. And as those people who have sent in there, they know that I respond to it. And if there's anything like I look at it and I say, well, they kind of missed this, or that was a misunderstanding, then I'll respond to it.
Okay. And if there are a few people who have the same misunderstanding, it means that we weren't clear.
Right.
And we will adjust. We will respond because we have probed and then sensed and then responded. Got it? Okay. Next time, this is what we're looking at. Do we have it? Your company's secret state change agents. Your company's secret change agents. Oh my goodness. Wonderful, wonderful. We're going to be looking at something called positive deviance. Positive deviance, which is a way of identifying and changing a system from within
the system.
You know, because always when the change comes from within, you know that
it's more adoptable.
It is, because people are saying, hey, we've helped create the solution, and so they favorably respond to it.
Yeah, and so often, we spend a lot of time with people who are in the workplace, people who are not working. I mean, the position is not, they're not a good fit for the position. So we don't often think about looking at where someone else in the organization with the same amount of resources and the same problems is managing to pull it off really well.
Oh, that's so
And
exciting.
so this is in part to encourage you, to encourage your clients to look for places where it's working, so that the working part of it can be introduced to others, but in a particular way. And that's what this article is about.
Okay. Fabulous. Very powerful. So just remember, we appreciate you. We're so glad you're here. And we look forward to seeing you next time. And you'll be thrilled with the article. So please do read it before our next session.
And don't forget to get the homework in.
Oh my goodness.
Rita
You know what
does
I'm
not
saying?
want to have to chase you for the homework.
Oh, do not have Rita chase you. Do not have her chase. It's not pretty. Okay. So goodbye for now, right?
Bye.
Bye, 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 sweethearts.